Let's take a look at Adventure Pals. It's a cute adventure platformer with a lot of charming characters. And then compare it to Broforce, and it's neither cute nor charming. Now, if I say that I prefer the look of Adventure Pals to Broforce, that would be my subjective opinion. And thus, art and game design and all of this is kind of subjective, right? Well, not really. Let's take a look at this scene. Suppose I said I wanted to create a game for people who really loved Metroid and wanted to experience a desolate Metroidvania. And then I give you this. We have some mist in the background and it looks sort of gritty, and we can even see some insects. But this character looks more like he belongs in Adventure Palace than on a desolate planet. We also have a color palette that is kind of soft on the eyes and not cold and empty. On top of it, we don't have any indicators of that sort of alien life that a Metroid fan might want. Compare that to Ghost Song, where we have this character, cold and desolate colors that feel alien. We even see some spaceships in the background. Ghost Song consistently tells the player that this is the game to buy if you want to experience an adventure on a desolate planet. When you're making a game, you're trying to appeal to a specific type of person, and every single choice you make in your art direction and game design need to have that person in mind. If we have the general art direction of Blasphemous, but then you play as this cute demon character, you would probably alienate all the players that want a cute, relaxing game, because of all the creepy things. But you would likely also alienate all the fans of Dark Souls games, on account of this character not fitting their idea of a dark fantasy. But suppose you aren't trying to appeal to either of those types of groups. You're trying to appeal to the small crowd of people that like random things that don't make sense. Well, fine. My point is that you should always be able to argue for why you're making a choice. People can look at the end result and either enjoy it or not, but your art is bad if you intended for one result and then got another. I mean that in the sense that you need to be able to reproduce what made someone captivated. If you accidentally made something nice, then you'll have trouble recreating it. So you might have one or two things that people subjectively enjoy, but 20 other things that they hate. And by not consistently knowing who you're trying to appeal to, you're likely to make so many conflicting choices that you eventually alienate almost everyone. From the consumer end, it might be a matter of one person preferring pixel art and another absolutely hating pixel art. From your perspective as a creator, however, your goal in some respect need to be to identify who you're trying to appeal to and service that with each design choice you make. Now you might look at this scene and say, he said this isn't good, but I think it looks good. But that is fundamentally the wrong idea. It's not about looking good or being good, it's about appealing to someone's taste. SteamWorld Dig looks great, but it doesn't make me want to buy it. Whereas I bought Gris for full price even though it's only a 4-hour long game. And this is not a slight on SteamWorld Dig. You have equally many people that would never buy Gris, but instantly bought SteamWorld Dig. My point is that you don't want to make a game that everyone says is okay, but no one really wants to buy. You want people to care. This is why it's so important to remove this idea of just doing a thing and hoping that someone likes it. Design with intention and with an audience in mind, because it helps you think about what is actually important and also what advice to listen to. And your decisions don't have to be correct, but you need to have at least thought about it. And this doesn't only apply to art. Think about spawn points in Metroidvanias. I think they should be right before an individual challenge, but when you don't have one, then you should probably space them out. But each developer will make their own decision. The important thing here isn't that I'm right or that someone else is wrong. It is that you think about it. That way you can more easily focus on whether you achieve that actual result. It becomes more measurable. A player might say, the lack of spawn points makes me really frustrated with the game and I don't like it. All true, you do become frustrated. It makes you annoyed. But the developer probably wants you to be frustrated. They want you to be annoyed. Because when you finally finish that boss, you become ecstatic to a degree you wouldn't have otherwise. But a player won't generally recognize that the feeling of sweet glory actually came from the developer making you miserable. They'll only recognize that they were miserable and that they didn't like it. In my opinion, this makes some design choices extremely difficult to tune right, and feedback even more difficult to listen to, because some seemingly bad choices might have positive consequences, and it's up to the developer to know what they're doing and why they're doing it. Ori is a game with lots of spawn points, and it becomes slightly more relaxing to play compared to Ghost Song. None of them are necessarily making a bad choice. They're just appealing to different people. Even simple advice that people give, such as make your character control well, can sometimes be bad advice. We have games such as Limbo, which has atrocious controls, but it's actually making the game more immersive, because my lack of fluidity with the character elevates my stress levels, which is something that is extremely important for this type of game. Things such as use is another example of something that might be extremely important if you're making an action roguelike such as Dead Cells, but if you're making a puzzle platformer, it might be outright annoying. This means that even simple feedback that is technically correct can still be bad advice to follow. The thing is, this is always the case. Even for making something such as a YouTube video like this, I'm fundamentally trying to appeal to a specific type of person. And with some videos, I feel at doing that, whereas other times it works out quite well. but I also get a new attempt at appealing to you every other week. Whereas if you plan to make a Metroidvania alone in your spare time for 3 years, you only really get one shot, so you should make it count. Thanks for watching. Bye.